Hello there. It is Saturday, November 22nd, 2025, 7:41 p.m. When is Thanksgiving? Why don't I have that? My calendar doesn't even show holidays. Okay. Wow. Okay. I wish I had that toggle box on months ago. Okay, so next Thursday is Thanksgiving. Good to know. Thanks, phone. Yeah, my dude. I've had a bit of a headache today. Nothing that 92 miles can't help. And it was kind of an interesting headache because I couldn't really tell if it was becoming a headache or if it was just like pressure, maybe a little bit. When I got to the hotel yesterday, the person who checked me in, she was saying that she was having like a lot of allergy problems yesterday, and one of her eyes was like really red. And I was like, well, I don't know anything about this area, but for sure it's been pretty windy recently, and the weather has had a lot to say about things, and there's like a lot of creosote smelling stuff in the air, so if you're sensitive to stuff, there's certainly no shortage of it out there. And so I think I've had a little bit of I don't know if it's congestion or sinuses or I don't know. Last time I remember having a headache was when I was in the Denver area, which seemed to be associated with my meta glasses, or at least that's as far as I could tell, but who knows? I mean, the way I look at it, although I did have a few moments of being like, do I have like a brain tumor? The way I see it, if the worst thing that happens to me on any given day is that I have a slight headache, that's a win, when all is said and done. And I'm coming to you from this rest stop area. I think it's called the Burnt Well something or another. It seems like it's really loud too. Burnt Well Rest Area. Yeah, eastbound. And it's funny, today was really actually kind of I feel like most of the time when I talk to people, and I'm like, it really do be like that sometimes though. I feel like that's usually me talking to them about their life, but today was sort of like my own, it really do be like that though, kind of situation. Because crazy enough, it rained more today during my ride than it did yesterday during my ride from Desert Center to where did I even get to? Blythe, I guess. Like it really didn't rain like during that entire time. And then when I got on the road today for my final 40-mile push, there was quite a good bit of rain, and I was like, I swear that like it was and of course it doesn't really matter because the forecast, nothing changes like the weather, my dude, but everything that I had seen was saying that like today was going to be like the first day of like sun. And honestly, for the desert, I'm kind of okay with what it was, which was like an overcast, slightly chilly, wet day, because like that sucks, but it also sucks being in the sun all day. And honestly, if I could choose a certain way to go across the desert, I think I would prefer it to be cloudy, along with all the consequences that come with that, than to have to endure the blazing sun without without refuge, without without reprieve. That's the word I'm looking for. So it was fine enough. I was a little bit moist at a certain point, but I was just like, it really do be like that though sometimes. Just like totally I had an expectation that was completely shattered. Like it's been off and on rainy in this area for like I said yesterday, it's been over a week now. Which is just crazy. And stuff keeps still spinning up. I tried to watch the Weather Channel at my hotel, but I really couldn't make heads or tails of it. For whatever reason, the quality of the image was really bad, and that made it really hard to see what was going on. It kind of turns out that like it seems like a bulk of the Weather Channel information that I usually derive comes directly from actually like from looking at maps and like reading things. And when it's all fuzzy, it's like, well, I don't know what that area is. I can't tell. So I didn't really get a bunch of information. I didn't really get much information at all about what was going on in the country. And that's fine. You know, it's like, well, I'll just figure it out. It doesn't really matter. Things are probably going to tend toward being drier and warmer as I continue to go, like, you know, through Arizona, which, you know, I'm in Arizona now, which means I was in California for nearly a month and a week, I think. If memory serves, I got into California October 16th. Is that right? That doesn't seem right at all. Maybe that's right. Let me see. Yeah. It was October 16th. So, you know, that's crazy. That was me going from, man, I guess, I don't even remember. Was it Reno to South Lake Tahoe, or I don't even know, dude. But in any case, yeah, here I am. I'm finally out of California. I'm finally in a state that sells flavored nicotine. I'm finally meaningfully headed back east, you know. It took forever. It took forever. Being in California for that long, it's just like, wow, this is really hard to believe. I'm just surprised that there was enough to do to keep me there that long, you know. It doesn't hurt when you're traveling about the second slowest speed that you can. You know, you got walking, you got biking, you got driving, and it only goes up from there. But for sure, I spent a lot of time in California. And I guess I left San Francisco on Halloween Day, and now here I am nearly some other amount of time later, and it's almost Thanksgiving, which is crazy. I'm very happy to be here. But yeah, it's crazy though as well, because it's supposed to rain again tonight, like throughout the night periodically, which is not what I was anticipating, which does completely change my plans for camping. And I have to kind of figure out what that's going to mean. This is a pretty good rest area. It has covered picnic areas, which I'm certainly going to avail myself to. They are unfortunately very lighted, very well lit, and I am not sure. Well, I'd have to do a little bit of poking around to see if there's like a fuse box or something. And I would do that minimally. Like, I'm not going to be breaking into any kind of fuse box or anything like that. Where is the next on the places to go? Well, my cousin Zach just texted me, and that was his question, so I'll go ahead and tell you. Zach, in the off chance that maybe you're not listening to the podcast, wow, that's so loud. I can't believe that people pay for that. I'm forever flabbergasted that, like, someone's like, oh, like, I can make myself, like, clinically deaf in, like, you know, a tenth of the time. What is all this? I'm getting barraged by text messages. Dude, oh my God. I'm gonna have to put this on. Oh my God, dude. Okay, airplane mode. I cannot handle my phone continuing to just vibrate like it's got Tourette's, dude. Anyway, so, yeah, I have an idea of how I'm going to sleep here, and I think that it'll be mostly fine. I'm just going to choose the farthest away picnic table, and the picnic table itself casts a shadow that is kind of like a T shape. I guess I'll try to take a picture of it, and I'm planning on just putting like the head. I think I just saw a mouse run by. You better be careful, my dude. There's like 1,000 signs everywhere about how there's a bunch of snakies and tarantulas that would love to gobble you up. Anyway, though, I think that I can put my head in a strategic place so that I'm not being like blinded by light all night. And as per usual, the comforting sound, the white noise of traffic will probably be a soothing thing. Hopefully, I've seen like one car come by and park close to the area that I'm planning on sleeping at, and its headlights didn't seem to affect the area that I plan to put my head, so I do think that this will be a good idea. And it'll give me a little bit of shelter. I might still get a little bit wet or whatever, but again, I'll keep my umbrella somewhat near, so if I need to actually like blot out the wind and rain, then I can do that from my face and everything else will be fine. I do look forward to like not vigorously cleaning my gear, because there's probably not going to be a lot involved in it, but I like the idea of cleaning everything one final time and having that be done for a while, like my sleeping bag and my tent and stuff like that. It would be nice to just like let those hang and dry and not be in like bags all day in various degrees of moist and wetness or whatever. So surprising amount of motorcycle activity. I wouldn't want to be out here, not that it matters what I want to do, but this seems like a bad time. I mean, if it's your only form of transportation, then you get what you get, I guess, but it's certainly not favorable to those on two wheels right now, as dark as it is, and then also, with the impending weather. But it'll be fine. It always is. And I've got my speech rehearsed for the plausible deniability or whatever. It's unfortunate because like there are these like S-curved brick walls that abut all of the picnic table areas that kind of, I don't really know what the purpose of them is. I guess it keeps snakes like outside within a certain amount of reason. It kind of bottlenecks them into a certain area so that I guess you can't be attacked by wildlife on all sides of your picnic table. But in any case, I was hoping to sleep in a shadow, but if it's going to rain tonight, then that's not gonna work. And I don't want to chance it because like the walk of shame between trying to sleep in this little shadow area and then having to go over to the picnic table anyway, which seems inevitable. Because last time I looked at the weather, it was like 100% chance of rain today, and I was like, well, that again, I'm still just a little taken aback because that was not on the forecast whatsoever. And now it says 20%. I don't even know, dude. Maybe it's because I selected the day. I don't even know. I mean, it's not very much rain, but it's enough to be annoying and to wake you up. It's supposed to have a 20% chance of rain all day tomorrow until 5 p.m. And then it's supposed to be... I'm just mostly saying this for myself because, like, it makes me feel like I'm going a little crazy if the forecast changes this drastically, which is not hugely drastic, but, it looks like the next 4 days are getting better. Tomorrow's partly cloudy, 62 is the high. Monday is sunny with 66 is the high. Tuesday, 68 is the high. Wednesday, 72 is the high. And no chance of rain currently for any of those days. But we shall see, my dude. We shall see. I gotta say, it's kind of interesting psychologically to see how people park at a rest area. Like, it's very much so reminiscent of how men use urinals. Like, these people, they could not be parking any further away without re-entering the interstate, which is just like crazy that people think they need that much space. I'm really just filtering this through the fact that another person has now pulled up and are shining their lights in my future boudoir. But again, the T-shaped shadow seems to be holding strong because of the design of these picnic tables, which at first I was kind of lamenting because I was like, well, I wish that they had put holes in different spots so that I could like really sleep underneath the table. And I can sleep underneath the table in a certain way, but not in a way that I want to. So anyway, doesn't matter. Can you tell where my head's at? I'm certainly ready to get into bed and call it a night. Anyway, before I do that, I should probably talk about my day. So it was a good day. I think, certainly one for the books. I got up this morning at 6:30. I was feeling pretty good about everything. I slept well. Oh my God, there's another person with a crazy amount of stuff in their, oh my God, in the bed of their truck. Wow. Not as bad as that guy who was also named Kenneth, but that looks so poorly put together. Like, wow, definitely doesn't work for Jenga, my dude. Anyway, yeah, so got up at 6:30. I think it was a pretty quick exit from there. I wanted to walk just because like my bike was a little bit in shambles from just grabbing the bare essentials out from it last night, so that I could have everything I needed to do what I needed and then go to sleep promptly. And I was in bed before 10. Certainly will be in bed before 10 again tonight, which might be a little awkward with people walking by, but I'm sure like this will get a lot less trafficked by people as it gets later in the evening. It's still relatively early. I mean, I should say, I guess I've always been confused about gaining or losing an hour based on like moving through time zones and stuff like that. Today I felt like I lost an hour because all of a sudden I got into mountain time as soon as I got into Arizona, I guess, and immediately it was an hour later, so I lost an hour of daylight, which didn't really make a difference because I wasn't going to get here like before the sun went down anyway. But it was a little unfortunate. It's interesting to have been on Pacific time for so long. I was on PST for a month, and yeah, I'm truly making my way back east. So back to the chronology, bouncing around. It's my style. I went to McDonald's, and it was a decent McDonald's. They did have water, and they had the bathrooms were open. I didn't see that they had any plugs, but 2 out of 3 ain't bad, as they say. So the McDonald's passed, and then I went to a Starbucks. I'd also taken my computer with me because I wanted to do some digital needfuls in a more powerful way. And so I did have my computer, and I was basically able to plan my whole day so that I would end up getting here. As soon as I saw that it was a possibility, I was like, that's really what I should aim for. That seems like it sets me up the best for all the things that I'm interested in doing and want to accomplish today. Like it's 90 miles down the road, which is a pretty significant chunk of distance. I'm hoping that I'll have a tailwind, which for large portions of today I did. What else? I like rest areas almost as much as anything else, if not like one of the top. It's certainly top 3 places I like to stay. Obviously, they're right off the interstate. I was on the interstate the entire day too, by the way. 90 miles. It was awesome. Like I really can't champion enough how much I think the interstate is just like the perfect place for cyclists. I know that there's a lot of people who won't agree with that, and that's totally fair. I guess I should say it's not the perfect place for cyclists, but it's the perfect place for me. I love that it's like relatively simple in terms of like the logistics. It has the most access to the things that I need to keep going, and in general, it's the shortest distance between 2 points. I hope to stay on it for as long as I possibly can. I don't like being on it when I'm in big metropolitan areas because it just becomes more of a liability with a lot more variables. But in general, I really enjoy being on it in these rural desert stretches. If I had been more desperate in Missouri or Kansas, I might have jumped on sooner. Being on the interstate as a cyclist is kind of like road walking as a hiker. It's just the most efficient possible way to travel. And that's such a temptation for me because I just like, it's about the movement. It's not about anything else. And this is the best way to move, that checks all my boxes. And in a not inconsequential way, interestingly, the rest stops are kind of like Appalachian Trail shelters. They typically, just like the shelters, are typically built close to water, and they usually have a privy bathroom kind of situation. And most of the rest areas that I've been to have similarly had, water access and bathrooms. So it's an interesting and fun little parallel when you frame it like that. So anyway, I went to a Starbucks, I had my computer, I did all my digital needfuls. I felt like I got to a good point, and then I realized, like, okay, well, I need to go because I have a lot of stuff I need to do. Got a Starbucks decaf to go for free, mind you. And then I went back to my hotel room and started packing up, which was fun, cathartic to put everything back together in the way that is best. And then I hit the road at about 10. I wanted to go by a grocery store, Albertsons, which I did, in order to get like some basic food stuff so that I would be able to eat on the go if, like I did when I first got here. I was just planning to be able to have like complete meal at any time if I needed to. And so that worked out really well. And then I pushed, there was a McDonald's 30 miles outside of Blythe, in an area, Quartzsite was what it was called. And so I had a double quarter pounder deluxe, so it had some vegetables, a McFlurry, and then a medium latte. And then I hit the road again, and there was another gas station that I think was 20 something miles from there. And I stopped there for my final snack and water fill up and coffee and all that kind of stuff. And also got some Zen, some flavored Zen, dude. Back in the land of the living. I want to speak just for myself, but I must say in general, I've gone out to states that are considered West Coast states, and I've lived in Montana for a season before, and every single time I come out this way, I'm always like, man, the East Coast is so much better. I'm obviously biased, and I'm not making a pronouncement. It's not a prescription, it's a description. And as far as I'm concerned, East Coast living is the best, It's just, I don't know. It just feels more lawless. It seems like, God love them for it, but the West Coast states just seem to be a lot more conscientious, and therefore there's a lot more regulations about behavior. And just like when I was living in Japan, eventually I got to a point where I was like, oh, it's like a little bit more difficult to express myself. Like there's a little bit more of a feeling of oppression here, even if it only takes the form of nicotine pouches. That's a big part of my day. So yeah. Anyway, talked to my parents. Shout out to my parents. Had a good conversation with them. I hope they agree. And then it was a 40-mile push at 4 o'clock. And I was like, well, I have made my bed, and now I have to lie in it because there's really nothing between here and this rest area. So I'm pretty much committed. As soon as I step out onto I-10 again, I'm going to have to push all the way until I get to this point. And I did. And it was totally fine. I enjoyed myself. It was a good ride, despite some of the slightly more challenging weather conditions that were periodically a part of the equation. But let's see if I have any notes worthy of mentioning. Oh, I have noticed, okay, so this isn't a note, but it's something that I've noted. I noticed that, so I started keeping track of all of the list items that I write down last December. And as of now, which it'll probably change a little bit, but it seems like basically in about a year's time, I had about 1,700 to-do items and accomplished all of them. Or decided that they weren't worth doing. So, same difference there. Let's see. Okay, well, the only two things that I have on here that are worth mentioning is I was thinking, and I talked to my parents about this already, so apologies for the repetition, but I was like, people, they have autobiographies, but people don't often have eulogies, I think, that they wrote themselves. And I was thinking if I were to die on this trip, that it would be unfortunate because I don't think that there's anyone who would actually be able to properly eulogize me. I could be wrong about that, but in any case, that was the premise of the fantasy. And so I was like, well, if that's the case, and I do have like a bunch of source material, what would Notebook LM do if I asked them to create a eulogy based on all of my transcripts for this trip? And so that was a fun listen. I might listen to it again. I was like, I want it to be a celebration of life. Well, I had a prompt that I thought was pretty good. I can't look at it. Oh well, doesn't really matter. But yeah, writing your own eulogy, I think that's kind of funny and fun, because you know yourself best, especially if you've spent some meaningful time with yourself. So, I think that's probably the most direct and accurate source material for creating an adequate eulogy. Yeah, think about it. If you're a Notebook LM fan yourself, input some personal information into it and ask it to eulogize you. It's humbling, if nothing else, and illuminating as well. Oh wow, okay. Wow, someone just showed up with a truck full of stuff that that is rivaling the other Kenneth. That looks bad. That doesn't look like it would fare well with 70-mile-an-hour speeds and wind and things like that. Just like you'd lose a bunch of stuff. God, that might be worth taking a picture of if I can be delicate about it. Anyway, yeah, so eulogies are cool. Notebook LM is cool. I can't say enough good things about it. The only other thing I have on here that isn't just a personal to-do item is that self-knowledge requires ugly research. Again, going back to that whole like cringe is a data point. Like charming. Yeah, if you're going to get to know yourself, it's going to be an ugly process. There will be periods where you don't like what you see, but those are the points that you have to be most aware of, I think. So, for fear that this has now ruined the clip, I think I'll leave it there for now. 27 minutes ain't nothing. And, oh wow, that was so annoying. Dude, cars are just so annoying. This other car that pulled in initially that I was complaining about several minutes ago that had its headlights on, it still has its headlights on and it's just sitting there. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. And yeah, nothing matters. Love you, bye. I mean, nothing matters like in a empowering way. I've had some good feedback about that being any kind of mantra. By saying nothing matters, like really it's like I'm saying everything matters equally, which in that case it's like, well, nothing matters in particular. Everything has like equal weight, in a certain sense. So again, it's just like a practice of oh my god, good thing nothing matters. All right. On that note, oh my god, this car is like possessed, my dude. That's so annoying. I wonder if this guy has his kids or something in the car and they tried to open the door or something. I don't know. In any case, he just took a monster vape hit, so I will salute him at that. All right. Love you, bye.